We very much appreciate you taking the time to join us and learn about the power of local SEO, search engine optimization, from rankings to revenue. We'll begin with a little bit of housekeeping. This webinar is being recorded, so we'll post a link to the video so you can go back and rewatch any sections you like. We also post it on our YouTube channel, so you can always find all of our webinars there. In addition, we will take questions at the end of the webinar, so please feel free to type your questions into the Q&A or the chat during the session, and then I'll wrangle those and we'll ask Eli the questions and he'll answer them at the end. So, we are the World Trade Center of Northern California. We focus on making trade easier for businesses of all sizes. And I want to thank the Northern California Small Business Development Centers, also known as NorCal SBDC. They are our funding partners, and that's what allows us to do this work and bring these educational opportunities and fabulous speakers to businesses throughout Northern California. We're part of the World Trade Center Association, the headquarters of which is in New York City. It's the building that we all are familiar with. There are 333 World Trade Centers all around the world, and there are over 90 in the United States. We're located in Sacramento, and we serve the northern 36 counties of California, which is effectively the northern geographic third of the state. We are an SBDC affiliate and a technical assistance provider for businesses in need of exporting, importing, and e-commerce or website support. We have a very deep bench of subject matter experts in the areas of international trade, both importing and exporting, as well as US and global e-commerce. Another area of our focus is education. We help businesses by providing high quality education, and today's webinar is a great example of that. Today, you'll hear from one of the best digital marketing experts we know, EliAdams, about the power and importance of local search engine optimization in reaching local customers and growing your business. Another area of focus for us is access to resources. We connect people to the trade ecosystem with resources to help grow your business. Whether it's logistics, financing, e-commerce, or connections to one of our partners like the SBDC, or the Small Business Administration, U.S. Commercial Service, or a local economic development agency, we can help. And then we also have a worldwide network of partners that we can access through the World Trade Center Association. So now let me introduce our speaker today, EliAdams. As the founder and CEO of Fire Us Marketing and the host of the Digital Revolution podcast, Eli dedicates his expertise to helping businesses flourish online and changing the negative perceptions often associated with digital marketing agencies. With 15 plus years in digital marketing and product management, Eli's experience ranges from startups to large enterprises, impacting businesses in over 80 countries and in 17 languages, steering growth from millions to billions in revenue. And with that, Eli, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we got you.
Right. Thank you, Kimberly, for the opportunity to be here again for another webinar. I love doing this. I'm passionate about the SEO industry, and so it's fun to come on and share some of the stuff that I've learned over the years, and I'm excited today to talk about an area that is near and dear to my heart. I've worked for multiple companies and agencies that have focused on local SEO in the past, and it's a big part of my current agency. So I'm excited to dive in and do a little bit of training around that. So here's kind of a session rundown. We're going to talk about 5 different areas that you can do to improve your local SEO. And what I'm trying to do in this webinar is really give you the keys to do this on your own. If you want to go out and hire an agency or somebody in-house, you can do that as well. But these 5 steps you should be able to do on your own. And if you don't know how to do it, and what I train here today doesn't give you enough information, just maybe take a screenshot of this page and then just go Google it. Go to YouTube. There's hundreds or thousands of trainings out there that'll teach you how to do this. And so that's kind of the idea, is to put the keys into your hands. And if you're not able to do that, again, reach out to Kimberly and her team, and that's the expertise that she brings to the table, where they will be able to help you grow your business through doing these 5, as well as some additional stuff that we don't have time to go through today. So okay, so what is local SEO? Let's just dive right into it. I'm sure you've seen the maps. I'm sure you've gone on your phone. I'm sure you've done it on desktop, where you type in a local search for maybe local, oil change near me, or local oil change, or oil change with your city name, and you get all of these results. So you look at the description, you look at the location, how far away it is, you look at maybe the reviews. So local SEO is just optimizing your business to show up in those local searches. And that's what we're going to teach about today. So why do you need to focus on local SEO? Some of you might be listening and kind of sitting back and saying, well, like, I think it's important, but maybe it's a long-term thing. Maybe it's something I can do later. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. So here are some reasons why I believe you should focus on it right now. So 46% of all Google searches seek local information. So that's either a near me search, or, a location-based or geo-targeted term. 46% of searches. That's huge, right? 78% of mobile local searches result in an offline purchase within 24 hours. So 78% of people who search for something local end up buying it within 24 hours. 76% of people who search for nearby visit within 1 day, and local search drives 28% of all search clicks for businesses, which I think is huge. The future of SEO. Here's why you want to focus on it now instead of later. Organic search drives 53% of all website traffic, far more than paid, which is 15%. And that comes from Bright Edge. And then by 2030, the global SEO industry is expected to be worth $234.8 billion, which is a 17.6% growth from 2022. So from 2022 to 2030, that's how much it's expected to grow. The reason I tell you that is because if you don't focus your time on this, I'm promising you right now that your competitors are. To grow 17% and get to 234 billion between now and the next couple of years, you have to know that your competition is doing the same thing. And because SEO is like a marathon, it does take time. You can't wait 5 years and then say, okay, now I'm going to start, because your competition is not going to be 5 years ahead of you. They're going to be exponentially further ahead of you, just because the way the search engines work, the way the SEO works, it's a time thing. It's those who are consistent, slow and steady wins the race, right? So those who are consistent are the ones who are actually going to win the race. So let's move on to number one. So number one is leverage local business listings. I think this is probably the most important part that a lot of local businesses miss out. And I'll give you an example. I have people, come to my door all the time and knock on the door and try to sell me pest control, or they try to sell me solar, or they try to sell me window washing, or whatever it is, right? Landscaping, all of that. Most of those that I talk to do not even, they don't have a website, and they're not listed on Google. So it's very important that if you want to get out of the knocking on doors type of sales, or the cold calling, or the cold emails, it's very important that you have a local listing. Not to mention, a lot of times I'll be busy. Maybe it's dinner time, or I'm playing a game with my family, and I'll say, do you have a business card? And I'll just get in touch with you later. And so they give me the business card, and before I call them, I will go onto Google and I'll search their business, and I'll look for reviews, and I'll look for what other people are saying. I'll look at their social media before I make that purchase. And if you don't have this listing on Google, you're not going to show up for that. You don't have a place for people to leave reviews, all of that. So it's very important that you do that. So if you just go and type into a Google search, Google My Business. Google My Business it's a platform, it's a program. You can see the screenshot of what it looks like. You just sign in with your business email or your Gmail, and then you ensure accuracy across the board. So it's called NAP, name, address, phone number. Those are the most important things that you have in there. There are other areas you can optimize, like categories, services, operating hours, so on and so forth. So What's most important though is the NAP, and you need to make sure that the NAP is the exact same on Google as it is on Apple Maps, as it is on Facebook, as it is on Yext, as it is on your website. And what I mean by the exact same is if you say like, I live on 200 East on one, and you say 200 E on the other, which we know means East. Um, it's just best practices. I don't think Google's going to really punish you, but it's best practices to say the exact same thing across the board. So if you say E on one, say E on the other. If you spell court CT instead of actually spelling it out, just do the exact same all across the board. And then once you've done that on Google, go to these other places like Apple Maps and your Facebook business page, and make sure that you have the exact same optimizations for categories for your NAP, all of that. Um, that's the most important part and step one. Then you go to your website and you do some on-site optimization for this local listing. So as you can see in the screenshot to the right, I live in Saratoga Springs, Utah, and I was searching for a dentist for my kids, and I found this location page, and you can see how many times it says Saratoga Springs. It's up in the URL, it's in the address, it's in the H1, it's in the content multiple times. And you don't need to like overdo it. It needs to make sense, but it shouldn't look like you are keyword stuffing. So a lot of people do what they'll do is they'll set up, let me go back one, they'll set up their Google My Business, and then the link that they put in there, they'll send to the homepage. Well, the homepage is not the most conversion friendly page. So what I'd recommend is you set up this location page and use that as the link that people go from Google to your website. And then when Google connects those and say, okay, this is about X, Y, and Z service in this area, and your landing page talks about Saratoga Springs multiple times, it's very clear that you are a business, a local business that supports Saratoga Springs. They connect that. And then when people make a search within Saratoga Springs, or they say near me, or they say local dentist, or they say dentist in Saratoga Springs, all of those variations are going to lead to a Saratoga Springs dentist. And if you do these optimizations, you're more likely to rank. So again, make sure that your name, address, phone number, NAP, all of that is on this page as well. I did a screenshot of part of it, but I list out a little bit more of what you should put on here. Right below this, they also had, they pulled in some of the Google listings and said what people are saying about us, not Google listings, sorry, Google reviews, what people are saying about us. And then they had a section that said, meet our team. And it, showed the dentists and the other people who work there. So this page can be a little bit more in depth and helpful to the people who are investigating you as a dentist for this specific example. So on-site optimization is one. So number two. So number one is build out your Google My Business. Number two is on-site optimization. Number three is structured data on-site. And actually, let me skip to this next one and show you what I mean by structured data, and then I'll go back. Structured data is just some code that you put on the website that tells the search engines very clearly what it is you're talking about. Okay, so instead of having an address that says I live at 123 East, 123 West in this city and this state, it actually lays it out. If you look here, I don't know if you can see my mouse or not. I just locked myself out of my computer. Let me come back. Sorry. If you can see my mouse here, but this says the city is Centennial, the state is Colorado, the zip code is 80122. So it lays it out very specifically so that the search engines, instead of reading a clump of letters and numbers, it's very specific and says, this is the city, this is the state, this is the zip code, right? And this is just one example of schema. And if you mark up your website using schema, here are some of the benefits on the right if you see these screenshots that you can see, which help in the click-through rate. So if somebody from Google goes in and types your business, and look at the red arrows here, you have your ratings showing up, you have your location page at the top showing up, you have your FAQs that if they click from Google, they can get their answers right from Google. And then you also have a location section down below as well. Using schema markup, so if you go to schema.org, you can see there's thousands of ways that you can mark up your website. But what I want you to be aware of is that 90% of platforms that host your website, so you're looking at WordPress, you're looking at Shopify, you're looking at Wix, whatever it is, 90% of them, probably more than that, but over 90% have a plugin or a feature that will do this for you. So you don't actually need to know development. You don't need to understand the code. If you're in WordPress, there's multiple plugins. Yoast is a plugin, all-in-one. SEO is a plugin. There are multiple plugins that allow you to do those FAQs and have it marked up with a schema, and do the location and have it marked up with a schema. When you install those plugins, it walks you through this setup wizard and says, what's your business name, what's your address, what's your phone number, what's your contact information, what's your logo, what's your social media, asks you all these questions. And then everywhere on the site that you mention those things, it will automatically mark those up for you and allow you to have this better view within Google. So not only is it a better view in Google, which helps people have a higher likelihood of clicking into your website, but Google and all of the search engines have come out and said, we honor schema.org, so use it, right? So I think that's a very important thing that you need to be aware of. On to number 4 is link building. And link building for a national or international website is different than link building for a local business. Link building for a local business, a lot of times we call those citations. So if you go to Google and you type in local business directory, you will get what you see, this screenshot on the left. You will get a whole list of directories that you can go in, and most of them, not all of them, but most of them are free for you to go in and put your name, address, phone number, logo, and a brief description. Some of them are paid services. The ones that are paid services usually, they usually have a lot more traffic. They usually have a lot more features. There are some, like Yext is one that you can go in and you can pay a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription where you put in your information one time and it pushes it to all of the other directories for you. So instead of you going in and creating an account and verifying your email and then going and adding the logo, adding the business name, adding all of that over and over again, Yext will do that for you on the majority of those big platforms. So that's one way to get a citation, because every one of those you get a link or a citation that goes back to your website. And then when Google goes and crawls the internet, they see those links and citations and say, wow, this website must be popular. I'm going to rank them more, right? So that's one way. Another way is to work with local newspapers. The one on the right is a local newspaper here in Utah. When I launched one of my businesses earlier last year called digitalexperienceacademy.com, I reached out to TechBuzz and said, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's the purpose behind it. Does this seem like a worthy story? They said, yeah, go ahead and write up the article. We'll evaluate it. And if it makes sense, we'll publish it. And so I did that. And I told the whole story of why I created it, what people can get out of it. And I got a link from that website back to my website promoting it as well. Another thing that you can do is you can work with local influencers or other businesses that may not be in competition with you. You can exchange links back and forth. You can have a partners page and say like, hey, if we're a chiropractor, but we don't do x-rays. If you're looking for x-rays, here's a link to an x-ray tech, right? Or we're a chiropractor and we suggest you use this type of CBD oil on your sore muscles, and they can link to the CBD oil company. And then you go to that oil company or, the x-ray company and say, hey, let's be partners. You link back to us on your partner page or a blog post or whatever, and you kind of exchange those. Same thing with local influencers. If you have actual products you can give to them for them to mention you, you're welcome to do that, or strike up other deals. But to get them locally to promote your business, especially if you are consumer goods. So if you're like a cookie shop or a soda shop, which both of those are really big in Utah, and you can get an influencer to say, hey guys, here in downtown Salt Lake on this day, they're doing this special. All you have to do is give them my name and you can get 50% off your first cookie or whatever. That way they're talking about you on social media. If they have a website, they can write a blog post and point a link to you as well. All sorts of ways to do that, but it's very important that you do this type of link building to set yourself aside from the competition. The last thing I'll say is management and optimization. It's very important that you get reviews, not just on Google, but on all platforms. Google's probably the most important one to start with. If you don't have any yet, start with Google. Once you start to grow that, then you can expand to Facebook and these other places that offer review options. But it's very important that you get reviews because, as you know, as a consumer, if you go to a company and they have 0 reviews and it just shows the gray stars, you're less likely to trust them over the one right below them that has 150, 5 stars or 4.9 stars. And a lot of times, if you have a 4.9 star, what that means is the majority of them are high. One person was upset, or 2 people were upset, and they did a 1. What happens is people will use filters. They'll filter all the way down to that 1 and see what it was. So here's what I'm gonna tell you about reviews. There's sort of a hierarchy of importance. The first one, which you would probably think is going to be a 5-star review, is going to be the best. So that's close. You're close. 5-star review is really great, and that's what we should all shoot for. But we want people to be honest. We want them to really tell us how our service or our product was so that we can better it, right? If you do get a 1-star, well, here's what I'd recommend overall. I would respond to every single one, even if it's a thanks, we love serving you. That's all you have to say. At least you liked it, you thumbs up it, you responded. That's great. That shows people that you are um, that you're integrated with your clients, that you care about them, right? But here is where you're going to find something that has more value than a 5-star. If you have a lower one, like a 2-star or a 1-star, you respond to them and you actually fix that problem. They go in and they change their review and said, you know what, I misunderstood. I changed my mind. They reached out to me. They took care of me. I'm actually really, really happy. I'm going to give them a 5-star. Going from a 1-star to a 5-star and having a conversation within that review saying, hey, we're sorry that happened. We'd love to take care of you and make sure it doesn't happen again. And they respond and, back and forth, whatever. That is more powerful than a 5-star. That's number one, then 5 stars, number two. So everybody respond to every single one, even if it's really simple. A thank you is fine. But if you ever get a negative review, a lot of people reach out to me and they're like, I got a negative review. Can you get rid of it? In most cases, you cannot get rid of them. If it's belligerent and fraud or has bad language or something, then you can report it and Google will take it down. But if it's just a bad review because they had a bad experience, Google will not take it down. So your best option is to fix that. Your second best option is to get a bunch more clients to do a 5-star review real fast, so it pushes it down in those rankings. You'll still see it as like a 4.9 or a 4.8 up high, but there's less likely that, your first 4 to 5 people, there is less of a chance that people are going to see that because it only shows 4 to 5 reviews right when they go to that page. Here are some stats on reviews and why it's really important for you to focus on them as well. 98% of people read online reviews before making a decision about local business. 76% of consumers consistently check reviews when exploring local businesses, even if it's not on your website. If you have a product that is also on Amazon, but you're close and they just want to go in and buy it, they will look on Amazon for that review before they come to your house or to your location and buy it. So all of the reviews are important, no matter where you are. Businesses that improve their Google rankings by even 1-star can see a 44% increase in conversion. Additionally, the more reviews a business garners, the better. The conversion rate can increase by 2.8% for every 10 new reviews. So that talks about what I was talking about earlier. One, it's important to get reviews because for every 10, it increases your conversion rate. But if you fix a review and take yourself from a 4.5 to a 4.6, you're going to see a 44% increase in conversion because you're fixing that bad review instead of just pushing it down and leaving it as a 1 review. It's better to fix it and go from there. So, and then last slide, I just added this bonus one. I didn't put this in the beginning, but basically I wanted to give you some tools that you can go and look at to help understand if your local SEO is doing well or not. So free tools, Google Search Console, and then Google My Business. They're both free. Sign up for them just with your Gmail, your business account, whatever. Go get them, get your websites connected to them, get them optimized. Paid tools, if you're a little bit, if you have the budget and you really want to focus on your local SEO, Bright Local, SEMrush, SEO Ranking, and Local O are also really great tools that you can go check out. And over here on the right is the screenshot of a Bright Local one um, that I took a screenshot of. It shows you a lot of the data. It shows you where your reviews are coming in. It shows you, if you have good citations, positive citations, negative citations. There's a reputation management section in there as well. There's an audit section that'll go and say, hey, here's what you need to go and fix. There's a citation tracker so you can tell when you get new citations, if citations go away, if you need to update them, if they're not clear enough, all of that. So hopefully that helped. And I think we're to the point of questions. If anybody has questions, I haven't been following the chat, but Kimberly, you let me know.
We've got a couple of questions. First question is, are the local search results more favorable towards some industries? My business is a healthy snacks business, and I'm wondering how impactful it could be for my specific line of business.
I don't think so. I think that what you need to be aware of is what the trend is. So if you go to Google Trends and you type in healthy snacks versus um, the Super Bowl 2025 Super Bowl, that you're going to see Google Trends are going to be like Super Bowl is really, really high, especially at the first of the year. People are searching that a lot versus healthy snacks. But I think I'm not saying that because healthy snacks are not important. You're just comparing two different industries as far as like volume. So if you're comparing yourself to the NFL or to, an oil shop or a chiropractor, it's probably not, it's probably apples to oranges versus comparing yourself to other healthy snacks in the area. But I think it's still very important to optimize locally. I think that you'll get a lot of business locally if your business is set up to deliver locally.
Thank you. Becca, you have your hand raised. Do you want to ask another question? I'm not sure if you're able to come off of mute. Do you want to type it into the Q&A? There was another question. What if there is a good website, but not a Google listing? An office address is needed, and those working from home may find it hard to list on Google.
Yeah, that's a tricky one for sure. So if you support people locally, but but you don't want people coming to your home, you can still create a Google My Business. And in most cases, Google will allow you to verify yourself. But what you do after you get verified is you just hide your address. There's an option in Google My Business to hide your address, and you can just say, I support this area within 20 miles, or I support all of California, or I support all of this county. You can go in and you can say, this is what I support, but I don't allow people to come to my office. I go to them. If I'm a plumber, I don't want them to come to me. I want to go to them, right? So it's still important to have a Google My Business. You'll still show up in that map pack in the Google search results. But it's a little bit different in how you get verified and if you try to drive people to you versus you to them. But it's still important to have.
Great, thank you. All right,
Mhm.
here's another question for you. Of the 5 areas that you mentioned of local SEO, the 5 things to do, where do you suggest that we start?
So by far, it's more important for you to have a Google My Business than anything else, even if you don't have a website. Like I was telling you, I had a guy stop by, knock on my door. He wanted to clean our windows, and I started talking to him about it. And I'm like I ended up having him clean the windows, but I was talking to him about like, how do people find you? And he's like, well, it's only our second year in business. It's just me and my brother. And so we're thinking about building a website. But the only way people can find him right now is if he knocks on your door. That's it. So you can go and set up a Google My Business account for free today, and it will take you 30 minutes max, maybe less, to fill out every single bit of it, to add your logo, your business name, your hours, your contact information, your categories, how you want to be contacted, all of that. And I will mention also, Kimberly and I talked about this offline. I think it's really important that you have your phone number in there so people can click it and call. But then also there's a messaging option that you can turn on. A lot of people keep that off. I would keep it on. It actually sends it right to, if you have Google Map on your phone, it sends it right to your Google Map and you can respond to there. If you respond quickly, it says underneath, when people search your business, and it'll say underneath, normally responds within X amount of minutes or X amount of hours or X amount of days. If you see it come in and you wait 3 days and that's your average, it's going to say usually responds within 3 days. As we saw in those stats, people buy within 24 hours of looking at local results. So if you get a message, respond immediately, even if it's, let me look into that for you, I'll be back, right? Because then it says usually responds within 5 minutes. That's more likely that somebody's going to click on there and message you a question, compared to some of your competition. So I think it's important to go and do your Google My Business, optimize it as much as you possibly can. Even if you don't have a website to link to, people can still get a hold of you and they can still search for your business and they can still leave reviews.
So that might have just answered the next question, but I'll let you decide. My product is listed in 12 local stores, and I'm not sure if a Google business listing is going to help much considering people mostly buy snacks from a store.
It's a good question. Can they buy online? If they can buy online, I would still do it. My guess is you're probably just selling locally. I need some more information, so maybe they can respond. But
So, so here's the thing, though. If you were
okay.
talking, going back to the conversation that you were having with the guy who came to your door,
Mhm.
if he had Google My Business set up, even though you can't maybe buy the window washing or whatever it was online, would it have made you feel more comfortable when he comes to the door? Or
Yes.
similarly, like you're in the store and you're looking at this product and you decide you want to do a little bit of research before you buy, or you got
Yeah.
home and you really like it and you want to dig in a little bit further. So does the
Yeah.
Google My Business help with that? Like at least
Absolutely.
find
Yep.
you?
And you could put in your description, you can say, we're sold at these 12 local stores. Right. And so if you don't sell on your website right now, if you do, still get a Google My Business and then send people to the website. But if you only sell in these local stores, create your business so that people can leave reviews for you,
Mm.
and they can learn more about you. You can also use Google My Business kind of like social media, but you can use it more as like promotions. So you can do a post and you can say, hey, having a sale at this store locally, for the next 24 hours, go check it out, or whatever it is, right? You can say, hey, did you know that we were in 12 stores, now we're in 15, go check out these 3 new locations. And people who go and look at your Google My Business, they'll see that in there. They can scroll through, just from Google, they can scroll through all of those posts. So you can kind of use it like social media, but you can be a little bit more salesy in that than you normally are on social media. But it's very important to have it regardless. So to answer your question, yes, I would have it even if you don't sell on your website. You can say, here's where you can find our products.
Okay. And in terms of so Omega points out that 90% of snacks are purchased in grocery stores.
Mhm.
And so is the return on investment clear for setting up a Google My Business, like doing that?
Well, it's free. So what's the risk, right? Your return on 30 minutes of your time total, maybe less, right? Yes, the return is going to be worth it. You may not get thousands of dollars in sales, but it could turn into something later, and it could be like, I saw this snack advertised on TikTok. Let me go Google it and look it up. If it's nowhere to be found, then it doesn't matter. But if you have it on Google My Business and they're like, oh, I can find it in these local stores, and that's what it says in your description, then they know where to go. Like besides going into the store, you have to have a way online for them to know where to go and to answer questions. So in those posts and in Google My Business, you can do question and answers. You can do all of that stuff that people are normally going to go to a website to get. You can do it all for free in Google My Business. So I think it's definitely worth it.
All right. How about since we particularly like examples and case studies, can you share one or two examples of how effective local SEO has directly increased revenue for a smaller business?
Yes, absolutely. So I'll give you an example of a chiropractor that I work with. So we for the longest time. So I've been working with him for over a decade, and for the longest time we just had a contact us page because that was just normal. Like 10 years ago, you just had an about us page, a contact us page, a services page, all of that, right? So I went in and I optimized the local listing, the local contact us page, just like I showed you in that screenshot. And I put his I changed it from contact us to location / his city name, and then I did the same thing in the header. I said, you know, city name, chiropractor. I can't remember what I said. It was chiropractor, city name, one of the others as the H1. Then I put the city name within the content. I optimized it very similar to what you saw in the screenshot that I shared. And we've seen a spike in local traffic since doing that. So it's a real life example of localizing your on-page optimization to match up with what people are searching for, and it works. We also did a bunch of schema. I found some new plugins. This was about a year ago. I found some new plugins. We've built his website on WordPress. We found some good plugins that helped with some FAQs. It helped with the contact us page, and we wrap schema around all of his code, and it just made it a lot cleaner. When we do the crawls now, we see that Google can crawl the whole thing very easily without having any hiccups and knowing where the address is. It shows it's indexable, like very well worth doing those optimizations. So that really worked out well for him.
That's awesome. And then one last thing, which actually goes back to the question of if you don't have an office address, is it worth doing? I thought you said that you don't have to have an office address in order to do Google My Business. Is that
So
correct?
you have to have an address, even if it's your home, to get verified on Google. But once you're verified, you can go and say, don't show my address. Right. So you have to go through this verification of Google where you go through and you set up Google My Business, you optimize it just like that. You hit submit. What's going to happen is there you're gonna go through a verification process. And so in the past, what they would do is they would send a postcard to your mailing address and with a number on it, and you would just log back into Google My Business, type in that number, and you'd be verified. What they do now is they do it all from your phone. So you'll log into that on your phone, and you'll enable the video section, and there's like four things you have to do. So you walk outside and you show the address, like the street sign. Here's the address, here's the surrounding cities. You walk inside and you say, here's where I do my business. This is my office. This is and I what I did is I showed my computer screen, and I say I own the website. I logged into the back end of the website. I said, here's my business card. Here's like why would I be 3D printing things if I didn't own the business, right? Like, so you show all of this in like a 3 to 5 minute video. You hit submit. They go through like an automated check, and usually within the week you're verified. If there are questions, a lot of times and not a lot of times, there's very few times that I've seen questions come up. But if there's something in the video that makes the automated system question it, they will have a Google representative call you and work through that with you. But from what I've seen in the past, the majority of people I've worked with have been able to do that quick little video, and within, sometimes it's within a day, sometimes it's like 5 to 7 days, you get verified, and then you go in and you say, don't show my address. So you do have to have it to be verified. You don't have to have it to have a Google My Business. You don't have to show your address publicly in Google My Business.
So you're a great example then, because you
Hmm.
work from your home, but you do have Google My Business set up.
Yep, absolutely.
And
Yep.
okay. But you don't have your home address. So you check that box that says don't show my address.
Yep. Yeah, so for me, if you go on Google Fire Us Marketing, what you'll see is I cover the whole entire United States, and it draws a line around the whole entire United States, and it has my pin in the Pacific Ocean because it's grabbing Alaska and Hawaii. So it looks kind of weird in that way, but yeah, for the most part, I cover the whole United States, so it's going to do that unless I decide to get an office. And I've thought about maybe subletting an office, and so I can have a pin here locally. But yeah, but I still I have Google My Business listing, and people can go and leave reviews and all of that, and I have a home office.
All right. Well, that was the last of our questions. Thank you very much, Eli. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have, let's see, a few more for you.
All
Let's
right.
see. Yeah, if you
We
want to
have
find me on LinkedIn, you can do that. The real EliAdams, and then move on to your last slide.
And then I'll just reference the fact that we have a program that's funded through the NorCal SBDC, which provides no-cost support in international trade, both importing and exporting, cross-border and US e-commerce. We have one-on-one counseling with subject matter experts. Eli used to be one of them. And we have connections to a vast network of resources. And then we kind of have our secret sauce, which is interns. We hire, recruit, and train community college students to assist the businesses. They do research, they create presentations, and they help businesses better understand the ins and outs of various things like search engine optimization and social media marketing because they are certified in it. So with that, I will share a link if you're interested in learning more about it. Please complete this JOT form, and we'll schedule a meeting to talk more about how we can help your business. So thank you all for joining today, and have a great afternoon.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.